Hey there guys, so today we're doing T4's on a budget, Asgardians. This is Melnior of course, but no more me messing around. We're doing all of the Asgardians today, figuring out what we need on their T4's and all that balagi. You know how it rolls. If you haven't checked out my other T4's on our business, T4's on a budget, go check them out. Really helpful, I think, guides for anyone who needs some T4's doing but can't afford to do them all. If you haven't, like or dislike this video depending on what you think of it, hit that subscribe button. I mean, seriously, hit the subscribe button. Even if you like the content, hit it. If you don't like the content, well, hit it anyway. What is the worst that could happen?
FBI, open up!
Well, actually, yeah, that's pretty bad. Maybe don't hit that subscribe button. No, hit it still. I'm willing to risk it. But let's roll that intro, and let's do this. Alright guys, so let's just go straight into it. So we're going to start off with Thor. So with Thor, you don't really want to do any of his upgrades. If I'm being honest, the only reason you would ever do any of his upgrades is if he's high red star. So if he's got 6 or higher red stars, I would recommend doing them just because of his absolute massive damage he would then do. If you're doing if you are doing it because he's got red stars, I still wouldn't recommend this one. It's only 40%. It's just 40%. I just don't think that's worth the T4's. Hammer throw is definitely worth doing because you guarantee the extra target, and it's only 40% damage to the primary, but it is 30% damage to secondary, so it's just a little bit more worth it, I think. That would be worth doing if he's got those high stars. Then Lightning Storm is definitely worth doing if he's got the high red ones and God of Thunder. In which order, you might be wondering. If you are to do any on Thor, you definitely want to do, I would say, Hammer Throw first, because how this team works, if you're using him in DD3, maybe Lightning Storm, but Hammer Throw I would definitely say first, because you always have those defense downs from Hela spread to everyone. Then he goes and can just literally take out 3 people. That's why the extra damage with that hammer would definitely be worth it. Then I would say God of Thunder, just so he does more on his charged attack, as well as an extra just 5%. It is only 5%, but again, it just helps it out than Lightning Storm. But that is Thor. So we're going to go to Lady Sif, who she's just not got any that's really worth it. She's a tank, she's not a damage dealer, and that's only 40% damage, so not worth it. That's only 50%, not worth it. This is alright because you get an extra 2 targets, well, an extra 1, so 3 to 4, you go to 4 to 5. So an extra 1 really actually, and it's 40% damage to both primary and secondary, so it's nice, but she's not a damage dealer. It's just not worth it. She's not the one in the team doing all the damage. If Thor and Hela aren't the ones dealing with them, then yeah, you're in trouble. 10% block chance and 5% block amount on Defender of Asgard. It is nice to have, and it gives her a bit more survivability. Not tons, but a bit. It's just, I don't think, worth 200 T4's. There's much better ones to do in this team. So, next up we have Heimdall, who we have none on apart from one, which is obvious for War. So we'll go through them quickly. 50% damage, you know that's a no. This is okay if you're using them in raids to get rid of heal block, but it doesn't come up anywhere near as often, and it's only 50% damage. It is to all targets, but he doesn't do massive amount of damage. This is again only 50%. It's just not worth it. This on War is really good. So if you really want, if you're in a place where you're always getting your room attacked, every War your room's getting attacked and your Asgardians are defending you definitely want to do this, because it will make it a lot harder for them to beat the Asgardian team, because it obviously gives them a bit more focus. But the big one is 2 turns of defense up. Does make them really tough to get through when they've got 2 turns of defense up instead of just the 1, because most of the time Loki and Hela have already gone, so they haven't got defense up by everyone's first turn on the enemy's turn. That's what I'm trying to get at. So It's okay. Like I said, it is really good for that. But if you're like me, where you don't get attacked every war, so I probably get my room attacked 1 in every 5 wars. With that, then there's no real point me having it. I just don't think it's worth it at the moment. If I was getting attacked every single war, I'd definitely do it to make it harder for them to beat my teams or this team. But because I'm not, I just don't feel like it's worth those extra T4's at the moment. So that is what I mean by just for war. So we're going to go on to the, Loki, probably one of my favourite characters in the game because of his mind control ability. Absolutely amazing. So we've got his basic, 30% piercing and 10% chance to gain evade, so it goes up to 50. It's nice, but not worth the T4's. So this one's interesting. So it's mind control 2 enemies or guaranteed instead of that 75% chance. If you're using Loki in this team, the enemy that you use this on gets obviously hurt a little bit if it only does hit the 1, but Hela will probably kill them anyway with her move to spread the defense downs. It's very rare it doesn't happen, obviously 1 in 4. In Arena, if you're using him, it's usually to kill like a Yo-Yo or a Black Bolt. So it is nice to guarantee that extra 1, but the one time that it doesn't, you're usually following this up with like a Captain Marvel anyway, and she will finish him off even if only 1 hit. So it's not really like massively game changing if he does only control 1. It is nice to have. But if you're using him in DD3, which a lot of people will do, please do this, because yes, if you're using it first turn, you can keep going. If he doesn't to control 2, or not the 2 you want, you can keep quitting out and re-entering. But if you're 20 turns in, 10 turns in, whatever, and then you get this up, and this could cost you a match, and he doesn't control that 1 enemy, then you want to restart, then that's a lot of progress you got to redo. It's better just to have it. It's guaranteed then. That's why you definitely do it for DD3. This is just really good to have, full stop. Again, it has survivability not only inside war, but outside war. You get 2 turns of stealth instead of 1, and those mirror images then are attacked a lot more, and plus the mirror images get to do a bit more damage. Definitely worth doing. His God of Mischief, minus 10% enemy resistance. They've already got high focus, and he minuses the resistance already by 20%, so it's decent. But I've never come across any numbers where that would really matter. Maybe it will in power creep, but at the moment it's not something I think is massively needed, or even a little needed over some of the others. So last but not least, the goddess of death herself, Hela. Black Blade, nice, it's 60% damage to primary and 10% piercing to most injured. It's a little bit higher than the normal 50s, but it's just not really worth it. This, again, in raids, I find you only need to disrupt for 1 turn against tanks like Juggernaut or whatever you see in the raid. In the same as I think for Arena, if you're using Hela in Arena, I think you only need the 1 turn. It's very rare you find yourself needing the 2. It's nice to have, but not massively needed. On DD3 though, you want the disrupt for 2 turns, because you can set it up where you use the disrupt on an enemy, then when she gets her next turn, she can spread that disrupt to all enemies for at least 1 turn. It's very handy to have, and it really helps you out in in those modes in DD3, so that's why it's DD3 for DD3. Then we've got Death Knives. This goes from clear 3 death proof from all enemies, and 310% damage plus spread 2. This makes it spread 4 negative effects and 50% extra damage to primary and second. So the damage is real nice because she's got high damage, but it's so spread 4. So normally, unless Loki's mind control controls 2 others who can do debuffs on their basics, you're only spreading 2 anyway, which is usually a heal block from Greg, and that's Hela's summon, and the defense downs from Loki. But you'll find sometimes she always gets to use control, like let's say a Scarlet Witch, your basics, that will give them an extra 2 negative effects. Let's say you're using her in a mixed team where other people are doing negative effects, you want her to be able to spread 4. If you're solely using her in this team, maybe it's not massively worth it, but it's really nice to have that extra damage, to be fair, so I've got this as a yes. Goddess of Death I think is absolutely amazing and a little underrated, because a lot of people say Death Knives first. I would say Goddess of Death first, then Death Knives, especially if you're not using her outside the Asgardians team too much. But she gets an extra 5% max health, 5%, 5% max health, 5% max health per non-summoned Asgardian ally, and I'm pretty sure she gains even more max war defense damage and stuff like that. So overall, she just gets more health and more damage. That's the short nut of it all, and that's just really good to have on Hela. Makes her health regen even better every turn, as well as the health just she has in general. Obviously, you know how it goes. It's just really good to have this one. I would definitely recommend doing it. But that is everything. So that is your Asgardian team there, and T4's done. Thank you for showing up. If you like the content, hit that like button. If you don't, hit the dislike. But that's all from me here today. I'm Joho, and you stay classy, YouTube.